Today we will be baking all-time favorite apple cake. Now, as apples are the main ingredient in this cake, it's important that you use good quality apples. Here I like to use really tart Granny Smith apples, and I like to caramelize my apples before adding to the batter. And while caramelizing the apples, you have to make sure that the apples are not overcooked. Here again, I like to use a mixture of oil and butter. Uh, Oil cakes tend to remain moist and tender for a longer time, and butter gives better flavor than oil cakes. So here, for a flavorful moist cake, I like to use a mixture of oil and butter. And I'll explain to you the procedure while baking. In order to caramelize the apples, use a wide heavy bottom pan, and once the pan is hot, add your apples. Here I've chopped around 5 apples. After 3 to 4 minutes, add 100 grams of sugar. And once the water has evaporated, I will transfer this to a bowl and let it cool. Once the caramelized apples have cooled down, I'll prepare the batter for the apple cake. Here, if you go through the list of ingredients, you will notice that I'm using baking soda as a rising agent. Now, what is the difference between baking powder and baking soda? Baking powder is a combination of baking soda, which is alkaline, and tartaric acid, which is acidic. In recipes which already has an acidic ingredient, we will use baking soda, so that baking soda gets activated when it comes in contact with the acidic ingredient and the liquid, and it will release carbon dioxide, which will help our baked product to rise. And again here, I'll be using eggs which are at room temperature, and I'll be adding cashews to my batter. If you want, you can substitute cashews with walnuts or pecans. First, I will measure all the ingredients now. So first, to measure eggs, which is 160 grams, first I'll break 3 eggs into a bowl, whisk it lightly, strain, and then measure 160 grams from it. After measuring all the ingredients, I will get the cake tin ready. First, I will sprinkle some dark brown sugar, then line it with apple slices. Now I'll keep this tin aside and cream, butter, oil and sugar in a bowl. So here I have 113 grams of lightly salted butter, which is at room temperature. And now I'll add 200 grams of white granulated sugar. And in goes my 110 grams of vegetable oil. Once the butter, sugar and oil are mixed, I will add the measured eggs. And now I'll fold in the flour mix. So here I have 250 grams of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1.5 teaspoon of cinnamon and a big pinch of salt. If you want, you can use unsalted butter, but in that case you have to add 1/4 teaspoon of salt into your flour. Now I'll fold in caramelized apples and nuts into the batter. And while folding in, make sure that you do it gently and that the apples and cashews are evenly distributed in the batter. Now we will transfer the batter into a cake tin and bake it at 180 degrees for 35 to 45 minutes till it is completely baked. After 45 minutes of baking, the cake is perfectly done. Now I will let it cool in the tin completely. And once the cake is completely cooled down, I will run a butter knife around the edges and then turn it upside down. Our simple and beautiful apple cake is ready. And this cake, just like any other fruit cake, tastes the best after 12 to 14 hours.